start a new recording. We'll start a new recording. So basically, we'll just upload it in 2 segments to Zoom. So I just started a new recording. So I think what was so interesting was basically Catherine Woodward Thomas in her Calling in the One process talking about when sometimes we go into a relationship and all these old identities come up, and she asked the question, how old are you when you are feeling this? You know, we go back to disempowered like lifetimes. We're talking about 1-year-old, not one, but 4-year-old, 8-year-old, you know, things that were done to us by our parents, things that were done to us maybe by somebody who was super unconscious, and then we take that with us, you know, which is a critical wound or some kind of faulty self-image, and we take that into our love life, and we overcompensate in our work life, because that is where we get a lot of certainty and a lot of significance, as Tony Robbins would teach us. But in our love life, absolutely no certainty, no significance, and basically all we can go for is we need to project this perfectionist image, and I think that it's so super painful, and to actually understand that basically that survival strategy and that old core wound has to be addressed. I think that is super powerful, and I think that is the type of stuff that you're working with.
Yes, yeah, it's you know, everybody's parents really do the very best that they can do with the resources that they have at the time. And I remember thinking, you know, on numerous occasions, you know, as you get older and you reflect on your life and you reflect on your childhood, and you know, I trained in psychotherapy when I was 26. So, you know, I've been reflecting on my life for a long time. And when you train as a psychotherapist, you have to undergo therapy every week for, you know, the whole term of your training, which I was in training for 4 years. So I did a lot of therapy on myself, and you know, I really learned to understand myself. And what is obvious to me when working with people, and I have to stress, you know, Calling in the One coaching is not therapy, but it is a deep transformational process where we uncover, you know, those core sort of wounds, and what we actually do is we find the empowered meaning, and we actually take people through very powerful exercises where we learn to sit in the body and access where in the body the emotions are, and you know, the age of that self that's caught in the body at that time. And what about developing the inner, so the two come together and you experience the completeness in that way, and you relate from your adult self. And most people, when they're in, you know, when we're feeling unloved, or we're feeling jealous, or we're feeling those emotions of you know, we're not being validated, or we're not being appreciated, or you know, we have doubt about the relationship, usually it's because our younger sense of self is being triggered. And part of that is in order for us to heal ourselves and for us to grow and to develop. And what we call the missing development is what we're looking to bring understanding to, so that my clients, once they grasp, what's the bit of learning development that I'm missing, they can relearn those skills, and then they begin to have the shift in their relationship. So, you know, one of my clients, Susan, she had gone through 2 divorces. And it's quite interesting that the 2 clients that I'm particularly referring to today are clients that are over there in their 40s. So one of the statistics for divorce in the UK is that the highest group of divorce in the UK is women between the age of 40 to 44. And so just so happens these 2 women are in that age group. So that's why they seem to have a lot of divorces. But this particular woman, she had a belief system that was running, was that she wasn't good enough. She felt she was a bad person. she had lots of references for this, so lots of life experience that was reinforcing this belief about herself. So she had the 2 divorces, they were really acrimonious. The parents, both the fathers, weren't talking to her. And one of the things that happened particularly to Susan is that because she felt she wasn't good enough, she would always overcommit. So she tried her best to be, really, really helpful, to do lots and lots and lots, and she would take on so much that she would end up letting people down all the time. She would, as a result of letting people down, they would feel disappointed, they couldn't trust her, they didn't believe in her, and she would get herself caught into this vicious cycle of promising too much, not being able to meet her promises. Then she'd beat herself up, she'd feel really, really bad about the situation. Then she would end up eating lots and lots of food, she'd put on weight, and she would go around in this whole circle of berating herself, being really, really hard on herself. And as a result, she was going through life where she felt really, really depressed. She would flip to the other side, get angry with people, and she just had this inability to really communicate. And so part of the coaching, one of the things she had to let go of was her guilt and her really her guilt about the fact that she had created she had these terrible divorces, and that she actually was a good person inside, and she had to learn to put really good healthy boundaries in place. She had to learn to say no. I mean, it is good to be able to say no, but some people don't know that. Some people just don't know that that it's okay to say no, and that just because you say no doesn't mean you're a bad person. So she really shifted in her sense of self to learning to love herself, to learning to really have, her own self-worth back, and her own sense of being kind to herself. I mean, kindness is such a major quality that people forget to be kind to themselves. It's kind of crazy, isn't it, Angelique? That people forget to be kind to themselves. It amazes me. It really amazes me. And she went from being, unaccepting of herself to learning to accept herself, to be kind and warmer to herself. And so her relationships with other people have changed dramatically.
Because she wasn't trying to be a pleaser. She wasn't a pleaser anymore.
Yeah.
And
she wasn't pleasing anyone. She started to please herself a bit.
When you see pleasers, you always wonder, what's the other side, I never really trust pleasers, it's because it's just too much sometimes. They're almost, it's almost like there's something waiting to happen. They must expect something from me. And relationships probably, they won't really have, it's just a mask. Nobody is a pleaser. The pleaser is just what we call the addicted lover or archetype. It's just a one-sided representation of a survival strategy. And I think possibly what the Calling into One process is doing is allowing people to see what type of strategies they have and how one-sided or unfulfilling these strategies are, how they were caused, but more importantly, how they can shift it around to maybe more useful strategies so that they can be more truthful to themselves and also be more able to create more healthy relationships, I would suppose. Yeah,
because what it is, you see, it's a way of relatedness. How are you relating to yourself is, how you relate to other people is the way you relate to yourself. So, what happens is, when you're sort of talking about the person who is always pleasing other people, is they do that because there's probably when they initially started to do that, it felt good to please the other person. So they felt good every time they said, they pleased their parent or whatever. But after a while, what actually builds up in the person that's constantly pleasing other people is they start to feel angry and resentful. But generally what they'll do is they'll suppress those emotions, because they know that if they let out that anger or that resentment, or if they express it, particularly if they grow up in environments where it's not safe to express anger, or that those type of emotions, is what happens is they suppress it all, but eventually it comes out, and it generally will come out in a more extreme way of relating than before. And this is why we know all about the mind-body connection. We know, people that have spend a lot of their life suppressing their anger, they usually end up with some form of cancer type illnesses, because of the fact that they have pushed all their emotions down, and it becomes trapped in the cells of the body. So this is why this work, transforming your relationships, transforming your ability to love yourself, is so important and so powerful for people, and in order for them to have healthy, what we call healthy, happy lives, to be healthily, happily in love with each other and with ourselves, you need to be able to express your emotions and talk about your emotions, and know what they are.
And as we're talking, Maxine, I know that we're nearing the end of the time. We've actually already gone over time. I realized that, just the two examples that you gave, plus the example of yourself, we could actually go on for like 5 days just talking about.
Yeah, I know.
And it's just basically, to me, it's just about the universal archetypal wounding that we all carry with us. It's nothing personal, but, certain people overcompensate in the career warrior, significant side. Others overcompensate in the addicted lover, pleasing, giving up themselves side. Other people go into the monastic, I want to be a spiritual lover, I'm not going to be in relationship side. There's a lot of what I would call archetypal universal survival strategies. And what I found really, really really interesting is that a lot of the attachment theory is already also incorporated in the calling into one process, and the discovery that will happen when you actually understand that when you are, for instance, very love, when you are one of the love attachment styles, you tend to attract the opposite, and the opposite will always have another theory, a deep subconscious of fear, or subconscious fear of love or being abandoned, all of these deep-seated fears that we actually then come up in our relationships over and over again. Could you maybe as an ending, maybe maybe in a one or two sentences, for whom would you say is calling in the one coaching or process? Is it for men, for instance, as well?
Is it for men, did you say?
Yeah. Would men be able to be calling into one coach?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's for men and women. Catherine's obviously orientated herself particularly to women through feminine power, etc. But definitely men. I've worked with men, not in calling in the one coaching, but I've done quite a lot of coaching with men in the past. But it's definitely a process. It's really for anyone who recognizes that their relationships they're not in the type of fulfilled, loving relationship they would like to have with somebody else. But also, if you recognize that you have past patterns of relationships, so the type of people that keep showing up in your life are of a similar type, and that you find that you're attracted to certain, we often call it, the bad boys or the bad girls, or, when you're attracted to certain types of relationships where you're left feeling unfulfilled, and you don't have that sense of happy, healthy love in your life. It's so it works for both men and women. It's really, are you committed? Do you want to have a transformation around love in your life? It's for people who are ready for that and who want to take responsibility to look at themselves and who can be self-reflective.
And just so you know, starting Monday, which is Valentine's week, which is a very depressing week for a lot of singles, not for me, by the way, anymore. I don't really care about Valentine's, and because I've given up on all those stories of having to be in a relationship, I just like you, I
Yeah.
it's better to love yourself, and through being your best self, you'll just attract lots of people, and when you meet the right one, it will be very apparent.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there and think, oh, because I'm single on Valentine's, it means something. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
What you make of
No.
it. But what we're going to do is, for 5 days consecutively, we're going to go through the 5 steps process of releasing the blocks to love. And but what Maxine does is she does courses, coaching courses, and there's an ability to also have a discovery call with her, and we're going to help raise money to feed children. So Maxine has kindly donated 1 hour of her time for a donation of £32 that could feed a child for 45 days. So if you want to know more about her type of coaching or one of her programs, contact me or Maxine, and then we'll be able to tell you how it works. It's £32 for 1 hour, which is super discounted, because Maxine's price is much higher. So this is a great opportunity for you to actually help feed a child and to actually look at your love life in Valentine's week. Yeah. So
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be going through on the next 5 days, well, not tomorrow, but from Monday to Friday, for Valentine's, to be allowing people to see what the 5-step process they need to do in order to create a transformation in love in their lives. And yes, so I hope people join us, and I'd love to, if anyone's got any questions, please put them in the comments below, and we'll make sure we answer them in the next podcast.
yes. Thank you, everybody, for your comments, and thank you so much, Maxine. And I can't wait to interview you further on Monday, because I'm learning so much myself.
Lovely. Thanks, Angela. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Yes. Okay. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.